Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci of NLL Lacrosse Talk. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate, leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on NLL Lacrosse Talk. On is, of course, our co-host Gary Groob, and we have a very special guest in Ernie Ellement. He's from the Borough Boys Lacrosse, and I got to tell you, the Borough stands for Peterborough. First of all, Ernie, we always ask, what started your involvement in lacrosse?
Well, that goes way back to when I was a young little fella, and my mother would always be talking to me about my Uncle Johnny or my Uncle Terry. My Uncle Johnny happens to be Johnny Shooter Davis, and my Uncle Terry is Terry Spitz Davis, two iconic lacrosse players. Back then, I had no idea who they were. I just knew them as Uncle John and Uncle Terry. Over the years and over the stories and the history of them, they're both iconic lacrosse players, and they're in probably just about every Hall of Fame in Canada. That would be my very beginning. I would say my other beginning would be probably around 9 or 10 years old, walking by a place down there in Peterborough, heading my way to Sacred Heart School in elementary, called the Civic Arena. There was an old arena here in Peterborough, and it actually hosted a Mann Cup back in 1954 when the Trailer Man hoisted the Mann Cup for the fourth consecutive year. That following year, Civic Arena was torn down, and they left an outdoor bowl. So me and my two other brothers, who were both lacrosse players, we had to walk to and from by this arena 4 times a day for 5 years. The arena was there for us to use. It was open. We played basketball, lacrosse, baseball, football, tennis. It was probably one of the greatest facilities ever, like known to teenagers or kids or men, regardless, whatever it is. It played a huge role. And I know personally in my upbringing or my lacrosse, learning how to play lacrosse. I was down there all the time with a stick. I fell in love with playing net. I grabbed a goalie stick, jumped the net. So I started out as a lacrosse player. Then I went into goaltending, then goal for it. So it was a question of going down with my brothers and my families and my friends, and it kept us off the street, which was a good thing. I had some friends that probably got themselves in a little bit of trouble sometimes, and sometimes we'd take them under our wings and say, come on down to Legacy Bowl, which is called now. Come on down to the Civic Arena, throw the ball around and have some fun, play some ball hockey or whatever you want to do. It was a lot safer. All the parents and all the families always knew where their kids were. We're all down at the Civic Arena enjoying the outdoors. Sorry, you had a question?
No. I wasn't sure. All right. So you basically started playing. Now, what got you interested in this part of your history, putting a league together?
Well, I played lacrosse my entire life, and I got to the point where I played with the Senior A Lakers, and I was a rookie, 22-year-old rookie. We happened to win the Mann Cup that year. I played 4 or 5 years after, and in between that time, I was in a head-on collision long time ago, but it wasn't a real nice thing. Came out of that, tried to come back to keep playing, and unfortunately, I knew at the time that I think my time was past. It was time for me to walk away from the sport of lacrosse. But that's easier said than done because my heart's always been part of lacrosse, and I always will be. So what I did was I was 35, basically, and I thought, something. I was still playing summer seasonal lacrosse in the other league. There was another league that was a good friend of mine, Brian Dalt Downer, and a friend of his, Neil Wyatt. They put together, and we would go down and play Wednesday night. we continued this process for a long period of time, and we got to the point where I thought 1997 rolled around, and another really good point for this is I met a gentleman named Al Lopes, one of my best friends of all time. He's a goaltender, just like myself. He came down. He asked about participating in playing in Peterborough. We welcomed him with open arms. He went out. We played. He says, "Hey, Ernie, grab a couple of guys. You got to come and play with the Toronto Beaches for a couple of games in the Masters League, the Masters Tournament Lacrosse." Lo and behold, we packed up our bags. We went out of town one weekend in Whippy. We played. We had a blast. We ended up going to the final. We lost to Huntsville. I never could stop that Jimmy Meredith in his little twister shot. Besides that, phenomenal player, by the way. But long story short, that was my first introduction to tournament lacrosse. And I thought, you know something? We have to do this in Peterborough. So the fall of 1997, all of us went up to Toronto, and we officially became the Borough Boys tournament team in 97. And that's basically how that started.
Well, before that, about 10 to 15 years before that, I did the play-by-play for the Toronto Beaches junior team.
Oh, junior masters?
Not the Masters, the junior team. Yeah, what was it? Provincial? No, it wasn't provincial junior. It was the junior A team, the Ontario junior A team.
Okay.
The league that they played. They played out of Toronto Beaches. They played out of what's this in Scarborough there, the arena. I all of a sudden I forgot the name of it.
Scarborough Arena.
Was it Birchmount, wasn't it?
Birchmount. Thank you, Gary.
Birchmount Arena.
The Birchmount Arena. It was the arena that rained after a rainfall and it stopped. The water would get in the roof and it would rain, and the teams would have to put buckets down and mop up the floor, the concrete, because back then they didn't have the fake grass. It was just on the concrete. And that was a nightmare to run on.
I can tell you another true story. When I played Junior B for Ennismore, we went to the Scarborough Arena. I'm pretty sure it was Scarborough Arena for a playoff game. We all got ready. We got dressed. We went on. We got on the bus. We got there, got in the dress rooms, got dressed, got on the floor. They had no less than 20 garbage cans on the floor at once, catching the rain.
Yeah, it's probably Birchmount Arena that you're talking about.
It might be.
It was next door to what's the place called? Oh my goodness, the disabled. Oh my goodness, it doesn't matter anyway. Man, I'm just having a brain cramp here. It was like that. That's what happened. There were about 20 of them. There'd be garbage cans everywhere and mops. Yeah. It was funny, and it would be a sunny day. It was the water stuck in the roof after a rainy day. The day later it was funny. Okay, so you started the league, and you felt how would it help lacrosse in Peterborough in your mind? What was the purpose?
Well, at the time, this was going on before I took the tournament team, and so this was still happening on and off. But we got to a certain point where we went through the Memorial Center went through a renovation back in 2003. So shortly after that, I thought, you know something, we got to fire this back up, because what happened was with the renovation happening, a good friend of mine, Ernie O'Brien, tried to get the league going again out in Ennismore. And I'm sure, I think I went for a year or two or whatever, and then it sort of folded. So long story short, we went back in 2000, I believe it was 2007, 2008. I started the winter seasonal lacrosse at Spyplex here in Peterborough. It was an outdoor bubble. That's where it started. And I thought, well, we need to continue this. So what I've done is I've just rolled it. That's why it's called seasonal lacrosse. Every season, we roll right from winter right into summer season. Now I'm preparing, for example, for the fall season, which we play under the stars. We play up at Fleming College on the turf. So I'm slowly starting to turn that around so we can work on getting that organized. That'll come together. And then once that's over, a month before it's over, I'll start thinking about winter lacrosse and where we can play. The Sky Dome, unfortunately, was sold. and now they have three basketball courts in there. So it's a venue we can't use anymore, but we always try to make some sort of effort to have lacrosse. We play somewhere. The last 2 winters we've been in Millbrook, Ontario.
Gary?
All right, let's go back a little bit. I want to go back into junior and all that. And who really was the one to develop you? What would be the name that pops in your head as a coach or a player or something that would be most influential to you as you were getting started?
Good question. You're talking box and field lacrosse too?
Yeah, either. Doesn't make a difference. Just lacrosse in general.
Gary, I have a wide variety of heroes. Field lacrosse would be Howie Stevenson, bar none. Probably one of the greatest coaches I've ever had the privilege of playing for. Box lacrosse, junior, I guess I've always looked up. A lot of my good friends played with the James gang. And these guys were your typical players that played, and they won 3 Menlo Cup championships in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 year I did go out for the junior A's to try out. And they had 2 pretty good goaltenders. One was Walter, Sean Quillen, one of the best of all time. And David was a great goaltender as well. Unfortunately, I didn't make that team. They figured I would get more action out in Ennismore, and which was correct.
Right.
There was a lot more balls to see out in Ennismore. And that was great. There was a great bunch of guys out there as well. So I did that for like 3 years. Personally, I guess I would have to say my uncles. Like, I love my Uncle Spitz. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore. But I always looked up to him. And I could talk to him. And there was our general manager at one point was actually trying to talk him into coming out to Ennismore to coach the team.
Right.
But I think he wanted a few dollars to do it, which never happened. So it sort of went by the wayside. But I've looked up to a lot of different people, even my teammates. I mean, they're all great friends. I love them all, and yeah, it's up. I think the one person I'll say I looked up to the most would be my mother.
Right.
And that goes without saying, because my mother, she raised 4 kids by herself, right? There wasn't a father figure in my world. I guess I shouldn't say that, because there was later on in life, there was a father figure that came out, my stepfather. But the long term of it, if it wasn't for my mother, God love her. She's 85 years old now, and she was there for us from like the get-go, and her life wasn't easy, and we've always been there for her, and we all love her for it. And we're all the people we are because of her. So she's my ultimate hero.
Right. All right, let's talk about growing up in Peterborough. Now, we've had a lot of guys who have been part of Peterborough, part of the teams, and everything else about it. And it all comes down to the community. What separates the program from everywhere else? Because, Orangeville's got their guys, and I always find it amazing that when I talk to these guys, they're more enamored about getting part of the junior A team than they were about going to the NLL. To be part of that Friday Night Lights kind of idea in your hometown. Same thing with Hall of Fames, being put into your own Hall of Fame, as opposed to, Ontario or wherever else. Right. Always seems to be the one that lights them up like a Christmas tree. Is it the same with you? Let's talk about growing up in Peterborough and having all this.
Well, I'll tell you something. I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times, and this is just one man's opinion. We are the lacrosse capital of Canada, if not the world. I'm very proud of this city. I'm very proud of the people in this city. I'm very proud of Lacrosse Peterborough. We have a community that it goes back, it dates back to, 30 Canadian championships that hang on the bunkers at the Memorial Center.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege to walk in that arena every single day to watch the Lakers play or the junior A's play, or walk in and watch little kids running around and try to pick up a ball play, and stop and look up and see all those banners. 2 years ago, we celebrated 150th anniversary. I was so proud when Tim Berry reached out to me and said he wanted the Borough boys to be a part of this.
Right.
And so we did. And we did a fundraiser. We had a one-night game. We had the Lakers playing against some educators, and we raised just under $5,000 for Special Olympics Peterborough. It was a beautiful moment. It was awesome. And I never really realized this until 150 years of lacrosse, and we have 30 Canadian championship banners hanging on the bunker. That's one Canadian championship every 5 years, guys. That's something to be extremely proud of. Now, that being said, I will never take anything away from any other center, right? Orangeville, Whitby, Six Nations, Brampton back in the day. I love all these guys. We're all lacrosse brothers. They have their special situations. They have their special titles. They have their special whatever. Brampton won a lot of Mann Cups. So did Six Nations. I mean, the parity in the league, for example, this year, watching the game last night, Coburg beating Oakville the way they did, I'm thinking, wow, like Coburg they're a different team now. The parity in the league is awesome. The Nations are obviously right now, they're probably 4 goals better than everybody, but they've earned that right to be told that. It's a question of everybody treasures what they have within their own community. We're no different, right? I treasure every ounce of what we've all done together as a community. My guys, the Borough boys, seasonal lacrosse, a lot of my guys want to play, and they're so concerned that players from the past that played with the Lakers from the past, they might think that they're not good enough to play. And I keep telling them, I said, we have maybe 2, 3 people tops in the last 20 years that played with the senior Lakers. I happen to be one of them as a goalie. We're all there. We hold our arms open for everybody. These guys are fans of the Lakers. They're fans of Peterborough lacrosse in general. They show up, they play, they have fun. I don't have stats. I don't have referees. I don't have all that stuff. We did all that stuff years ago, right? We go out once a week for a couple hours. We throw the ball around. We sit around. We talk after. If we want to, we might go to a local establishment, have a beverage or two, and talk some more. And then we say, we'll see you next week, guys, right? We're a well-knitted community, and that's just one part of it. The guys, like I said, the heroes in my world, Tim Berry, I look what he's done for the game of lacrosse. It's mind-boggling. Bob Allen, he is the icon. He's Mr. Lacrosse, probably in Canada, right? The only other gentleman I would put up there at his stature would probably be the late, great Jim Bishop. I'm sure there's other people out there. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. I know that these are just the 2 guys I know of. Right. It's a question of, guys like Big John Grant, the stuff that he's done. He left the city of Peterborough to go move to Sudbury, and when he goes up there, he creates the Sudbury minor lacrosse system. I mean, who does that? That to me, and it's because, where are you from? Peterborough. Oh, I've heard of you. Right. Peterborough this, Peterborough that. I'm proud when I leave the city of Peterborough and talk to somebody, and we talk lacrosse, or you go to any professional lacrosse league, and you start talking to people, and you say, where are you from? Peterborough. Oh, I've heard of you. Yep. Yeah, you guys are the hotbed. Well, we are the hotbed, and I'm very proud of that.
Right. We've even we've had the NLL commissioners on in the past, even trying to see would Peterborough be the right spot for the next NLL team. Yeah, I think it would be a great sell.
There's no question in my mind that Peterborough would house an NLL team. I have no doubt in my mind. The only question remains is who's going to be the owner, who would fund it, right? I think it all comes down to dollars and cents, right, guys? Right. It's one of those things. I don't even know what the fee would be to even be a part of it. But if Peterborough was to have a team, the place would be packed. Last week, we had 3,300 people into to watch the game last Thursday night. Tonight, I'm guessing it'll be close to 3,000. First game of the playoffs.
Right.
They're averaging, I'm going to ballpark it at 2,800 people per game. That says something for the organization, which, in my professional opinion, they're the greatest organization in Canada, period. They're second to none. And once again, I don't take anything away from all the other organizations. God love all of you. Keep fighting, guys. Keep trucking. You know something? Get the sponsorships. Keep the parity going. You have a great league. Keep it going. Just keep it going. Don't fall. Don't go back. Go forward. Forge ahead.
Right. See, one thing that stands out to me, being a non-Peterborough guy going up there, is the entire day of the game. That's what's on the city's mind, not everything else. Everything's talking about the Lakers and talking about the game and talking about this and then pregame and going over to Sticks, and all of the legends being accessible. Uncle John, I love going up and seeing Johnny. I love talking with him. I love talking with John Grant. I love talking with all the guys, and just having over a pop and sitting and just talking about lacrosse from way back, from tomorrow, from yesterday, and everything in between. And it's just, the comfort zone, it's as though you've known everybody for 25, 30 years.
Absolutely. You go up, I haven't seen John. I haven't seen John probably I've seen John quite a bit in the last 2 or 3 weeks. But before that, I probably haven't seen him in 6 months.
Right.
And, we go and all of a sudden we embrace. It's almost like, where have you been? We've been going back and forth and talking and calling each other. And then, something, I'm still in awe. I'm in awe with these guys. Like the night of the finish social at Sticks, the night at the end of the 29th, after the Legends of Lacrosse game, and we all went back to Sticks. And they're all around the island. You've been there. So if you talk, and the stories start coming out, and we're talking, and I'm thinking, I got to file out of the way because that's going to be my social for next year. At the end of next year's event, I'm going to have story time by the Legends.
Love
right?
it.
And I know for a fact it could be a pay-per-view event, right? And it could be a pay-per-view event for anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to
that. Anybody be watching that? That should be videoed. That should be. You could sell that disc. The story is on there, which is one of the premises why I have this show, is because anybody can look up stats. But when the guys go, so do their stories. So to get their stories out and about the era and about what they went through and how the things were happening, let alone some of the comedic things that went along the way.
Right.
That's what I love about it. That's why I go in there. That's why I love talking with them, because these things are gold.
Yeah.
And to be able to get it, especially now, to get it on video and to have it there, that anybody can look it up. That's the MO of why I do this, and that's the idea of why I go there. And I love it. You hit the nail right on the head there. Absolutely.
Well,
now, I want to get back.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, my first 2 invitations, by the way, for next year will go out to John Grant and Jimmy Watson.
Both have been on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure people would come just to watch them.
Oh yeah. I loved having Jim on the show. Jimmy was awesome. Again, stories and things like that, and just the way you can tell them, just those kind of ideas. But I want to get into that Man Cup team that won in '84, because you guys just were celebrated this year. Not in the 2004 team, so 20 years, 40 years. But let's get into that team a little bit. You beat Victoria 4-1. You went 23-1 that year. Talk about that team and just the, again, these kind of things happen seldom, that everything comes together at once. And you were a rookie at the time. Walking into that kind of team, how did you feel originally, and how were you made to feel part of it?
Well, it's funny you say that, Gary, because being a 22-year-old rookie and then stepping on the floor with your heroes was beyond intimidating to start. To this very day, I think the very first article ever from the Peterborough Examiner took a picture of J.J. Johnson coming down and shooting on me in practice. And I've kept that picture. I have it to this very day because he's probably the reason I play the game of lacrosse. And that's including having two iconic uncles. Mm-hmm. But they were older, and I didn't really have a chance to see them play. But I had a chance to see J.J. Johnson play, and I had a chance to see a lot of great ball players. Normally, when you have a lacrosse team and you have, say, Junior Grant and Tracy Koletsky on the same team, or say a Thomas Hogarth or a Katoni, or you have, John Tavares, and there was Mark Stainhouse, and every team usually has, for example, Six Nations have Lyle Thompson and Austin Stotts, right?
Yeah.
1984, we had Bobby Wasson, we had Jimmy Wasson, we had Paul and Brian Evans, we had John Grant Sr., we had J.J. Johnson, we had talent up the oh my God, the talent was unbelievable.
Yes. The
game we lost was the very first game of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and it was against Brooklyn. The only problem was we were missing, I think, 7 or 8 players. I think they were at a wedding or something. So we started the year off 0-1. And then we ran the table the rest of the way until we lost. We lost one game in the Mann Cup, game 4. That's when the West woke up. They came with their A game. Right. But it was the talent we had, and of course led by Sean Quillen, right? I was Sean's backup, and I was proud to be his backup. And I got a lot of floor time in when I could. But these guys were so good. Like defensively, we had Danny Dunn and Smokey Powers, Lenny, and he was a player coach back then, I believe. So we had guys out there with the wooden sticks, and I'll trust you, these guys are coming down one-on-one against Danny Dunn and Smokey Powers and Johnny Monroe and Andy Shaughnessy, a few other of these guys, and they're going one-on-one. They weren't going anywhere. And back then, we're going back and forth. Those like 5 down, 5 back, playing the old traditional way.
Yeah.
What I'm really proud of about this team is that it was homegrown, right? In today's game, I think we have there's imports everywhere, right? And we had 2 imports on that entire team. Both of them are great guys, Joe Greentree and Terry Lloyd from Oshawa. Right. And they came down and they helped us win the Mann Cup. But I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. We got the job done. Game 5 was huge. And I'm going to tell you a short story because I think it's probably my reason why we won the Mann Cup. There's between the second and third period of 84, game 5, bench clearing brawl broke out. The buzzer goes at the end of the second period. There's a gentleman named Wayne Roley Batley. God rest his soul. He's not with us any longer. Roley tied up probably one of the scariest lacrosse players I've ever seen, named Kevin Alexander. This guy was the definition of scary. He's one of the greatest lacrosse players I've ever laid eyes on. I played against him in box and field, and both times it was a treat to watch him play. What happened was we had the bench clearing brawl, so everybody's tied up. Long story short, they break it up. We have the intermission. We go to the start of the third period. We're up 2 goals, I believe, going into the third period. They assess Kevin Alexander a 5 and a 2-minute penalty for his actions. So he's in the penalty box for 7 minutes. This is one of the greatest lacrosse players in Canada. Third period, we can close out the Mann Cup. Back then, there was a rule that once your penalty was over, you had to stay in the penalty box until the referee, there's a stoppage in play.
Right.
So what happened was, and I can vividly see this to this day, he's over there. His penalty is over. He's over there with this wood stick, and he's cracking the hell out of the glass, trying to get on, trying to tell somebody to stop the ball, throw the ball away. He want to get on the floor.
Right.
He served almost a 10-minute penalty. He served half. No, it was huge. And to me, that was always the turning point. We were up 3 goals when he got out of the penalty box. I swear to God, he came out, grabbed the ball. He went down and scored twice on Walter. Bang, bang. They were within 1. There's about 3 minutes to go in the game. Long story short, Gordy Duncan, right-hand shot, takes the ball. He fakes right. He rolls the ball along Mac Mudd's right shin guard. We score with maybe 30, 40 seconds to go in the game. We're up 2. We get the ball, we control it. We win the Man Cup. I never forgot it. I thought, my name for this gentleman, like scary, like Kevin Alexander was one of the greatest lacrosse players I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
He's one of my magnificent 7 players. In all honesty, Gary, the last 40 years, and I was privileged because I played with a lot of my heroes, but I've always considered Jimmy and Bobby Wasson, Paul Evans, Brian Evans, John Grant, J.J. Johnson, and the 7th comes from the West. That's Kevin Alexander.
Right.
I face everybody I've ever seen ever play against those 7 guys. Tavares's, Junior, all these guys, all the Gates. Actually, Gary Gate actually played in that Man Cup for Victoria against us. Right. And he was only a kid. He was like a teenager, right? And he was going to be a phenom. Obviously, he was a phenom, right?
Right.
So it's a question of, you talk about the 84 year. I was in La La Land as a 22-year-old rookie going through the season. But then again, it changed the following year. Same thing happened, right? 85, we went through the season. We were 19-1 on the season.
Right.
We get to the final. We play Brooklyn. We even win the first game 10-7. Their coach, Peter Vipon, magnificent mind. He had a young team, and he made a young team believe that they could beat the big bad Lakers. And guess what? It happened. I mean, they won four games after, went out west, and they won the Man Cup.
Right.
It happens. You can't take anything for granted, right?
Right. And you won the Alumni Award for goalies in 84, 85, and 86. So you had a pretty good little career there.
Well, something. I said, for the time I played, and I tried to do my best. Walter was our goaltender, right? And I'm thank you for saying that, but it's a question of something. I'm just very happy and grateful that I had the opportunity to play with these guys and win the Man Cup. That was huge. That was huge for me, winning the Man Cup. To even play with these guys in 85 and walk off and shake Brooklyn's hand and say, good luck out west. Something? I was very proud to do that. I've been proud to play with every single player I've ever played with, regardless if it was the senior Lakers or the junior B guys out in Nansmore or my brothers from the Borough Boys Season Lacrosse. Every time I put on the gear now, it's getting harder. I'm getting older, right? So, but I put the gear on, I go and I have some fun. And then I think, something, let's get together and let's support another great cause. And that's what we do.
Right. Now, seeing the game back then and seeing it now, can you put your finger on what the differences are really? Because we had speed then, we have speed now. We had great players there, we have great players now. What is the main differences that you see in the game now?
The difference is the whole style of the game.
Right.
Like 5 on, 5 off, transition, right?
Yeah.
Wooden sticks versus Tupperware, as Mr. Grant would call it, right? I call it fly swatters.
Yes.
I watch the defense. I don't see defense anymore, right? There's no question. I believe the players they're in better shape. They're bigger. They might be even faster, but it's a question of it's a sign of the times, though, right? You grow as you age, right? There's new technology. Like the back in the day, everybody had wooden sticks.
Right.
I look at a guy like, say, Jan McGee. I had to try to stop this guy in practice, and he was zinging him with a wooden stick. Now, the Tupperware, now the ball comes out of the Tupperware a lot faster, right?
Yes.
There's such a difference in the years and the technology and all the new, the carbon, the shafts and all this other stuff. There's so much going on. I don't know if people could go back to using a wooden stick, right? I think it's a question of there's lots of good body hits and stuff, but when I see people on defense and they're swinging the stick and the plastic's hitting their plastic, it drives me insane. Like back in the day, you sit there and you plant yourself and you turn your wooden stick and cross check or give a good slash. Like back in the day, slashing was legal.
Right.
Right. And then they took it out. So
now with the transition, it kind of takes away from it being with the transition that we have now, it takes it away because we used to have the fastest game on 2 feet. I don't know if that goes anymore because now you run, stop, wait for everybody else to saunter out, pass the ball. Right. That's the one thing that stands out in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean, it slows it down because you know what's going to happen, right? The goaltender makes a save, or if they get a steal, and then you see guys are darting. Everybody's running as fast as they can to get to the bench. And then the guys are sneaking out. They're sneaking out trying to get an extra 2 or 4 steps, and it happens. And then the goalie gets the ball, and the goalie's looking to pass the ball. He's not passing the ball to anybody. He's just passing the ball to an area of the floor where the person's coming out the offensive door. He's going to get the ball. He's either going to have a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. You're going to do something with the ball then, or you're going to take the ball down in the corner, and then you're going to wait till everybody sets up, and then you're going to do your run. You got to run. You got to try to cut. You got to try to move the ball down side, do a front door, flip it back like they do with the little flippy pass back. Get it, take a shot. Hopefully you score. And then what happens is if you don't score, then you see, oh, here we go. There goes the 5 guys who are running back off, and the other 5 guys are running on. Yeah, I mean it's just the way it is, right? I don't know if I love this game, but I love the traditional game more.
Right.
Right. To me, it's more of a true lacrosse game. That's my opinion.
Right. Which leads me into the question, of course, of sixes that's coming up because of the Olympics, right? And my theory on that one is any way we can get another 280 countries to watch, let's do it. Once we get them to watch, then we can teach them tradition. But we got to get eyes on whatever in the heck the IOC wants. Let's do it, and then we can move back from there. But
exactly,
sixes works almost in the sense of what you're talking about because it's such a quick game. Without faceoffs, it just keeps going. It's not great for a goalie. But
you're going to see with the sixes, though, you're going to see the way the old box lacrosse game was played.
Right.
Right. The only difference was it's 5-on-5 going back and forth all the time. Right. There's none of these line changes. So it's the same format. And maybe, who knows, that somebody will pick something up from those sixes and reintroduce it into the box game.
Right. My theory also is that that's when we're not at ground floor anymore. We've got TV deals and we've got other things to get the word out. But once we get there, that's when it shoots. That's when the trajectory is straight up. And it's getting ready in these couple of years for that, for that boom moment and do it correctly. Well, because you only get one chance at it.
Exactly, Gary. I mean, 2028 is going to be huge. It's going to be huge for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So the work that you and Frank are doing, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, like I applaud you because what you're doing promoting this, and you continue to promote it. It's like every center, we promote what's going on, and you can hear the buzz. It's 2024. We're 4 years away from this, but there's still there's a slow burn regarding 2028, and that's the way it's got to be, and that's got to keep picking up as we get closer to it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about the Lacrosse Day for our champions and that idea, the 12-hour lacrosse festival that you do once a year. And I want to get how it originally became and then how it's morphed into what it is now.
Well, there's the backstory on this. So, being at I work at Catholic School Board here in Peterborough, St. Peter's Catholic Secondary School. I've been running their Special Olympic program for the last 10 years. So along the way, I've done a few fundraisers regarding lacrosse with Special Olympics and trying to raise a few bucks. As I said, pointed out a little while ago, 2022, we did a teacher versus Laker game on a Wednesday night. 2022, we raised just under $5,000. Our goal here was to raise money for two special groups: Special Olympics Peterborough and Special Olympics School Championships, our local high schools. So I call them the group of seven because there's a group of 7 local high schools that could use the money for their Special Olympic counts starting, say, this September. Right? There's always a need for money in all the high schools because of the busing costs and equipment needs and so forth, registration costs and so forth.
Sure.
So we came up with the idea to have a 12-hour lacrosse day for our champions. I involved Bill Chapman, who happens to be the community coordinator for Special Olympics Peterborough. He was all over it. We got together, we talked about it. I said, I'm going to put 12 hours together. We're going to have the PMLA involved, Nationwide Lacrosse. We're going to have the Lakefield Rage, the Senior C guys, James Gang, the Senior B guys, Junior A's, and so forth. So my highlight of the day actually was the 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock hour. For the first time in the history of this area, we had 23 Special Olympians on the turf at the Memorial Center with gloves and helmets on, and I had 8 or 9 Junior A's out there running them through drills, doing showdowns, passing the ball back and forth. Everybody was having a fantastic time. The hour came, the hour went. We took the kids off the turf. We walked over, we threw some bags and some gloves and stuff back in the bags. One of the Special Olympians was up in the stands. And I was busy, I was tired, but I was also busy trying to get prepared for the Legends game right after. And I was getting ready to walk back on the turf, and the Special Olympian yells down, says, Mr. Ellement, are you going to do this again next year? And I looked up at him, I said, well, do you think we should do it again? And he looked at me and says, yes. And then the kid had a smile. I swear to God, it lit up the entire arena. And at that particular moment, I never said yay or nay. But fast forward to July 4th, I'm out in the turf with my family because I received the honor of the Bob Allen Legacy Award.
Yes.
So they were doing a little intro. And Bob came out, and I met Bob right in the middle of the floor. And we thanked each other for everything I thanked him for everything he's done for the game. It's like I said, the man is Mr. Lacrosse of Peterborough, period. He's the icon.
Yeah.
He thanked me. And then the last thing he said to me, he pulled me in close and he whispered in my ear, he said, Ernie, keep doing what you're doing. And as soon as he said it, I knew right then and there, I'm doing this again next year. I knew I had to. And then so my answer to the young gentleman in the Memorial Center, Special Olympian, is yes, we're going to run Lacrosse Day for our champions 2. next June.
Right.
So it'll be the same format. I'm going to have a few changes. As I was pointing out, we had a social this past one. This particular celebration is going to be, I'm calling it story time, right? Legends getting together, talking about their history, talking about their games in the 50s or the 60s or 70s or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. That's well worth it. That's well worth just coming to see and listening to, but let alone all the lacrosse and all the other things, let alone the excitement and getting a whole group of people who normally don't get a chance to be excited and an opportunity. We had Scott Godfrey on from Lacrossing Barriers, and that was his thing, inclusivity. You know, giving people a chance who don't usually get that opportunity.
Yes.
And he's had lacrosse for blind lacrosse, hearing impaired, cerebral palsy. If you can't grab the stick, we can have somebody throw, but you can catch, or they'll work around just about anything. So yeah, I love the idea. I love working with Scott because just like you, he's got all the energy and exuberance, another former player from the West, and that kind of thing. And now he's trying to bring it across, all across Canada, and doing camps and other things. It's the same idea, and having that the kids light up, let alone the grown-ups as well.
You know something, guys? There's something to be said about when I said I've been running Special Olympics at my high school for 10 years. There's something to be said about watching a young Special Olympian score his first basket or her first basket, or scoring their first goal, or running through the tape in a 100-yard dash. I mean, scoring a goal in soccer, and the excitement and the smiles and the joy that it brings them. It's mind-boggling. And I think, in all honesty, that's what fuels me. I don't know what it is, but when someone smiles and they're happy, it brings joy to my heart, and it brings joy to everybody in lacrosse Peterborough that support all of us doing this great cause.
Yeah, I agree. Let alone just having that exuberance, everybody,
Yes.
and the camaraderie that they normally wouldn't feel. They can only watch. Well, no, now they're part of it, and actually firsthand would know all the camaraderie and everything that we talk about how great the lacrosse community is. Well, you've taken it a step further with this and with all this. And do you have a date yet for next June, or?
Tentative date is June 7th. Right now. So I've started the process rolling. I've already sent you the poster we've had done up.
Yeah.
So
we will we'll make sure that gets out everywhere.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. This has been.
Do you have time for one more story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Back when we first got this going, and our first thing we ever did together was we organized a special reunion in 2003. Probably the highlight of everything that's been happening so far. 2003 Laker alumni reunion, and we brought back 15 members of the Timmermen Trailermen from the 50s. And we had a big open stage outside of Champ Sports Pub. There's a plug for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were up there. My MC, Scotty Phillips, was telling stories. We're talking about passion and desire. And it goes back to what you said about the desire for everybody in lacrosse Peterborough. Where I was standing on the stage, and he was telling a story about a game that they played back in the 50s. And there was a gentleman named Lou Nickel who was on the stage. Now he played with the Timmerman years back in the old days. He was telling a story about a couple of guys getting knocked down or something from another team, and the way he explained the story, Lou Nickel had a cane. He took his cane, he started hammering the hell out of the trailer with pride. Like, you're damn right. It was like, and then everybody laughed. And all the guys were out there in the audience. There was John and Smokey and a bunch of different guys. And I thought, my God, this is 2003. This happened back in 1953, 50 years prior, and you can see the desire and the dedication and the passion that this man had for the game. And I think
Right.
that bodes well to all of us, because we all come together over the course of the years and the decades and the days and the championships. And there's years where we haven't won anything. Okay, that happens, right?
Mhm.
We can't win all the time, and that's okay. We will always be there to support Peterborough Lacrosse until the day we die. That's who we are. That's what we know.
Right.
We can't walk away from it. And that's
Right.
a good thing, because we're all there to support one another. And I look forward to moving ahead and forging ahead and creating a committee in October for this special event coming next June. And my guys will walk beside me, just like Special Olympics Peterborough will walk beside me. All the high schools will get together and we'll come up with a game plan for everybody there. We'll walk beside each other and we'll be the best possible supports we can be for all Special Olympians, all the champions.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to thank you for taking the time and going through your career, your life, the programs, everything.
No problem. I appreciate it, guys.
Next door to Birchmount Arena is the home of the Special Olympics. Next door to it. I'll leave that as a trivia question for everybody for next week. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate this. So for
Thanks,
Gary
Frank.
and Ernie, thanks, Gary. Thanks, Ernie. For Ernie Ellement and Gary Groob, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching NLL Lacrosse Talk, seen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Lacrosse Talk, news, entertainment, and other sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. And I want to thank my internet for coming back. Talk to you again sometime, guys. Enjoy it. Pick up a stick. Lacrosse is a fun game. Enjoy it. Till next time.